Imagine your body's immune system as a vigilant guardian, always on the lookout to protect you. But what happens when this guardian mistakes its own team for an enemy? That's exactly what happens in multiple sclerosis, or MS, a chronic and often unpredictable autoimmune condition affecting the central nervous system. Multiple sclerosis, or MS, isn't just a disease of nerves. It's a silent, relentless war inside the central nervous system. A war where your own immune system turns traitor and begins attacking the very cells meant to protect your brain and nervous system. But how does this war begin? How is our immune system involved in multiple sclerosis? In MS, the immune system turns against an important protein known as myelin, which forms the insulating layer that wraps around nerve fibers. In people with MS, something goes wrong in the immune system, most likely triggered by a mix of genes, like HLA-DRB1, and environmental exposures, like the Epstein-Barr virus. This leads to the formation of rogue T cells that mistakenly recognize parts of your nervous system as foreign. This autoimmune reaction is driven by these dysregulated T cells, a type of white blood cell, better known for fighting pathogens such as viruses and bacteria. These T cells, specifically T helper 1 and T helper 17 cells, mistakenly recognize myelin as a foreign invader and trigger an inflammatory response. This process involves the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, such as interferon gamma and tumor necrosis factor alpha, which recruit other immune cells like macrophages and B cells to the site of attack. This autoimmune reaction can damage myelin and therefore affect the normal function of nerve fibers. What are the consequences of this immune system attack on myelin and nerve fibers? Over time, the persistent immune attack causes demyelination, the destruction of myelin. Once inside the brain and spinal cord, these T cells go on the offensive. They call in reinforcements: B cells, macrophages, and microglia. Together, they launch a full-scale attack on the myelin sheath, the insulating layer wrapped around your neurons. The result? Demyelination. This is like stripping the rubber coating off a wire. Electrical signals that once zipped along the nerves now sputter, delay, or stop entirely. This exposes the underlying nerve cells, known as axons, making them vulnerable to further damage. As inflammation rages on, the underlying axons, the nerve fibers themselves, start to break down. This is the real engine of long-term disability in MS. Why? Because once an axon is gone, it's gone. No signal, no function. In addition to demyelination, persistent damage can lead to axonal degeneration, where the nerve fibers themselves break down, leading to irreversible loss of neuronal function. Over time, these changes disrupt the transmission of electrical signals in the central nervous system, causing the wide range of symptoms seen in MS. What are the symptoms of multiple sclerosis? MS symptoms can vary widely from person to person because the damage can occur anywhere in the central nervous system. Different people experience this disease differently. Some have relapsing remitting MS, with flares of symptoms followed by recovery. Others develop secondary progressive MS, where the damage slowly accumulates. And some have primary progressive MS from the beginning. Fewer attacks, but steady decline. Common symptoms include fatigue, which is thought to result from disrupted neural signaling, and mitochondrial dysfunction in neurons. Essentially, neuronal signaling is important for the transmission of correct nervous system signals, while mitochondria provide the energy to neurons to function properly. Numbness or tingling is sometimes a characteristic symptom of early MS, which is often caused by damage to sensory neurons, while muscle weakness, another symptom sometimes seen in patients, stems from disrupted motor signal transmission. An example of a more severe symptom includes difficulty walking, which is due to impaired motor neuron pathways. Visual disturbances, such as optic neuritis, occur when the optic nerve is affected by inflammation and demyelination. Although it's important to stress that these symptoms can also be associated with other neurological conditions. If you are concerned about symptoms or if symptoms persist, it's always important to discuss them with a trained professional, such as your medical provider or GP. For many, these symptoms come and go in episodes, known as relapses or flare-ups. During a relapse, new lesions form as immune cells breach the blood-brain barrier, a protective layer that usually prevents immune cells from entering the central nervous system. The attack leads to inflammation, scarring, and nerve damage, which causes the symptoms of MS, like fatigue, weakness, and vision problems. This is followed by partial recovery during periods of remission, as inflammation subsides and some repair of myelin occurs. However, in progressive MS, the disease mechanism shifts, with neurodegeneration outpacing repair. MS is a lifelong condition, but it's not typically considered fatal. Life expectancy for people with MS has improved significantly thanks to advancements in treatment and care. However, the disease can still significantly impact quality of life, especially as cumulative damage to the nervous system increases over time. So, how is MS managed? While there's no cure yet, treatments aim to modulate the immune system and reduce the frequency and severity of relapses. While there's no cure yet, treatments aim to modulate the immune system and reduce the frequency and severity of relapses. Disease-modifying therapies, or DMTs, work by targeting specific pathways in the immune response. For example, beta interferons reduce the activity of T cells and decrease inflammation, while monoclonal antibodies like natalizumab, which targets the alpha-4 integrin molecule on the surface of immune cells, blocking their ability to adhere to and pass through the blood-brain barrier. Another class of treatments, sphingosine 1-phosphate receptor modulators, traps immune cells in lymph nodes, preventing them from reaching the central nervous system. Other medications and therapies address specific symptoms. For example, muscle spasticity can be managed with baclofen, a medication that targets gamma-aminobutyric acid receptors to relax muscles. Physical therapy also helps maintain mobility and strength, while cognitive training exercises can mitigate some cognitive challenges associated with multiple sclerosis. Early intervention is crucial to slowing disease progression and preserving nervous system and normal physiological function. Living with multiple sclerosis can be challenging, but advancements in research and treatment continue to improve outcomes. Researchers are exploring innovative approaches, including remyelination therapies that aim to repair damaged myelin and neuroprotective agents that prevent axonal loss. For example, a novel treatment known as PIPE 307 targets the M1 muscarinic receptor on oligodendrocyte precursor cells, promoting their maturation into myelin-producing oligodendrocytes. By blocking this receptor, PIPE 307 facilitates remyelination in MS lesions. Another novel strategy is segesterone acetate. Currently in preclinical trials, SGA has shown potential in inducing myelin regeneration. If successful, it could become one of the first approved remyelination therapies for MS. Another approach are treatments that focus on modulating or resetting the immune system to prevent it from attacking the nervous system. For example, so-called inverse vaccines train the immune system to tolerate specific self-antigens, potentially halting autoimmune attacks without broad immunosuppression. Early studies in MS models have shown some promise. These therapies represent significant strides toward not only managing MS symptoms, but also addressing the root causes of the disease. Ongoing research continues to refine these approaches, bringing hope for more effective and targeted treatments in the near future. Support networks, both personal and professional, also play a critical role in helping individuals navigate life with this condition. Multiple sclerosis is a complex condition that researchers are working hard to understand better every day. By spreading awareness, supporting those affected, and funding further research, we can continue making strides toward a brighter future. The future of multiple sclerosis treatment is increasingly optimistic, with emerging therapies aiming not only to manage symptoms, but also to repair damage and address the underlying autoimmune processes. Advancements in diagnostics are also enabling earlier and more accurate detection. The incorporation of biomarkers into diagnostic criteria allows for earlier intervention and personalized treatment plans. These developments reflect a comprehensive approach to MS treatment, combining symptom management, disease modification, and potential regenerative strategies. Ongoing research and clinical trials continue to bring hope for more effective therapies and, ultimately, a cure. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Science Curious for more Science Explainer videos.